in dealing with entrepreneurs for the better part of the last decade a lot, whether it be just friends you're trying to help or people you're actually coaching or mentoring, how do you find is the easiest way to get them to understand that busy work doesn't mean that you're busy and that it's better to work smart versus hard?
Yeah, that's a really great question, Glenn. And part of that, a lot of the clients who come to me, I would say pretty much all of them, which is why they find me, they're open to the idea that their mindset is part of the impediment to them getting where they want. And for me, time issues are the biggest thing, are mindset issues first. First and foremost, they're mindset issues. For example, if you have a belief that you have to work really hard to succeed, if you have a belief that money is hard to make, or if you have a belief that working hard, like for many of us who grew up in middle class, working class, in professional families, virtue was based on your work ethic, which was based on hard work, right? And so if you have that as your core values of your mindset, then you have these internal conflicts when it comes to the idea of this can be easy and let's free up some time and I can be doing what I want to be doing instead of working.
Would you say, Alaina, in your experience, would you say most of it is rooted in a control issue as well? Is that a big part of it, the release of that? In other words, somebody else can move my vision forward without me.
I was on a podcast yesterday, and one of the things they were asking me to talk about is delegation in particular, and the issue that so many people have with delegation. Now, there's no doubt that delegation becomes a big part of being able to free up time. And oftentimes the issues that people have with delegating is that control. I say, kind of get your control freak under check, because it really is a problem that so many people have. The other issue is that they don't believe that people could do it as good as them. Right? So nobody can do it as good as me. Like, I've got this down. I know how my system works. It's got to be this way. And that's it. But that's also a form of control.
I think I've shared this story before, where a few years ago, I had this one part of our business that I just held on to because no one could do this until my wife made a comment to me, because we had alienated that part of the business a little bit to go a different direction. And sure enough, in 3 hours the next day, I had a PowerPoint for the entire 90% of that roadmap. But I stood in my way for 6 years and not doing that.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really amazing. And that's not really surprising, Glenn, because that really is so much. I mean, for me, like, my team is essential for me to show up the way that I show up. And one of the things that I say to people, when you look at time, when you look at freeing up time, when you look at being the CEO of your business, because I think time and CEO of your business are sort of blended and married. I think they're inseparable in the two. Of like, it's really imperative that even if you're an army of one, to be the CEO of your business, and you could outsource. For earlier entrepreneurs, not younger, but for earlier entrepreneurs who are earlier in the entrepreneurial journey, where they can't take on team members per se, there's still a lot. So much you can outsource on project basis, even to get stuff done. And what I recommend is that you focus on 5 areas in your zone of genius, and that's it. Everything else should be outsourced.
What has been your experience working with professionals, working with entrepreneurs who have part of the problem of being stuck being related to what we all just went through collectively? There have always been obstacles in business, and there are always hurdles, and there's always steps and plateaus that you have to get to. But what has been that impact that you have seen on mindset change, the ability to change mindset?
Yeah. I think that's a great question as well, because for entrepreneurs to be successful, I would say for anybody to be successful, but particularly for the entrepreneurial journey, a growth mindset is an absolute essential, right? You cannot have a fixed mindset. There are so many things that come up. And if we take every obstacle that comes up and thinks it's an obstacle rather than an opportunity, it will take us out of the game. We will remain stuck forever. And I mean, that's what I see, why people keep spinning their wheels over and over and over again. And so when you look at potential challenges and potential obstacles as opportunities, knowing that there's a solution there to be had, then it's easier to reframe that and look at it in a completely different way.
The comment and the question I've asked a lot of people is, have you created a job or a company?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're just happy to get moved on from working for someone else to working for ourselves, that they have a hard time understanding that when you get from here to here, it's so much easier to take those next steps when you get the systems, when you get the support in place, that you can do 3, 4, 5 times the amount of business at half the effort on yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I really love that, because what you're talking about, though, again, goes back to the 6 inches of space between your ears, right? Because so many of us, as I said, who have that sort of economy mind class of how we grew up. What did we grow up learning? Like getting a job and staying in the job and getting a paycheck was the safe thing to do. You were guaranteed that your future was going to be okay because of that. That's how our parents and their generations like learned about, and taught us unintentionally about how life works. So when we step out into the entrepreneurial space, we start creating the same things that we know, because for the subconscious mind, what we know is safe. The subconscious mind will not let you move into the unknown without it kicking up a whole bunch of stuff for you, because it doesn't know that it's safe. It hasn't done it before. It can't check the database of all the experiences you had and know, oh, I did this and I lived. And so it will try to stop you from moving into the unknown and create all kinds of strategies to take you out. So you stay in that, like, as you said, Glenn, recreating that 9 to 5, except now you're in your business and you're probably not even working 9 to 5, but now you're in your own business rather than working for someone else. But you've recreated the exact structures to live in, because that's what your subconscious mind knows and that's what's safe.